Now, Kim Kardashian is part Armenian. Is it okay for her to wear cornrows?
I personally think that it depends on what boundaries that culture has set. So I can speak for Black culture. The reason why, some of us are offended and have problems with white women wearing braids is because it's documented. Black women are getting fired from their jobs for wearing braids. We are called...
One, how do you switch up what you call Armenians in the first place? It's very confusing. She is 50% Middle Eastern. You guys switch and say that Middle Eastern people are white, then the next second they're not. It's just on basically whatever is convenient for you at the moment to argue. It's annoying. Now, aside from that, Black cultural appropriation or whatever, I don't believe in, because I don't believe that Black culture exists, one. But more than that, honestly, Black people's hair usually is like a 4A, 4B, or 4C. It's not very healthy to wear braids with what's considered conventionally Black people's hair textures. It literally pulls out your hair. So, going with this whole stereotype that braids are a Black woman's thing, well, it's not really. Even if we're really specifically talking about Black people and the type of hair that Black people usually have, well, it wouldn't be a good thing to do to a Black woman's hair, generally speaking. So I just wanted to put that out there, because it seems like people act like Black hair goes with braiding, or like braiding has to do with Black women's hair. It's not. It's specifically actually Black women trying to conform to other people's standards when they braid their hair. See, braiding your hair helps reduce shrinkage, which is the natural state of Black women's hair, and if you know anything about 4C hair, they get 90% of their hair in shrinkage. That means 90% of their hair is not showing. And people even who have 4A hair, we have shrinkage as high as 60%. So basically, when we braid our hair, we're trying to make our hair stretch out so then it looks longer and meets the standard of hair beauty standards, basically, among other races. So I guess you could say that when Black women braid their hair, they're actually culturally appropriating themselves. Because they are culturally, not really culturally appropriating. I don't see it as that, because I don't see Black people as a different culture than white people, but they are racially appropriating, I guess you could say, because they're trying to make their hair mimic white people's hair. When white people braid their hair, it's the same as if they leave it out, just normal. It's not going to make their hair less long. For a Black woman, she's trying to make her hair fall down. And you have to understand, when you have 4A, 4B, or 4C hair, your hair doesn't fall unless you put it in braids, so then it falls. So I'm just pointing that out here. It's obviously not that Kim is culturally appropriating in this situation, but it's quite obvious who is. Continue, though.
Ghetto, we are not seen as professional with our natural cultural hairstyles that are part of Black culture, and then when white women wear them, they are glorified, praised, and even sometimes have the credit attributed to them. So that discrepancy is where the issue comes into play.
If I could respond to that, I think you can...
The way I feel about that whole situation is, you're basically saying that Kim looks beautiful in her braids. It makes you upset because she's celebrated for having the braids she has. This, to me, sounds very similar, and I know it's not the same, but I've seen Black women complain about white women with full lips or a big bottom being celebrated. Specifically full lips, especially. And they would freak the hell out as if you can't celebrate someone with full lips because they feel like it doesn't convey to them. To me, how I always saw that was like, oh, look, they're celebrated, and see, you can be proud of what you have too, obviously. You know, I think some people think that it's if other people are celebrated for the same feature you have, somehow it doesn't translate if you're black. And that's because of the low self-esteem association with being black, basically. But continue.
Speak for yourself as an individual as far as whether or not you are offended by something, but you can't speak on behalf of the entire black culture. There are plenty of black people who watched what Kim Kardashian did and thought the braids looked absolutely fine. And again, I do think imitating is flattery. She didn't step up and say that she's invented the hairstyle. If people attribute that to her, that's something that you do on an individual basis.
I feel like it's important to understand the difference between imitating and actually appropriating. So imitating is like, you like my nails, you go do it, you copy it. Imitating, you like my shoes, buy the same shoes. Sure. Appropriating is when you are copying something of a culture that is not yours, and it's inappropriate. You are disrespecting the boundary that that culture has set.
If I copied your shoes tomorrow because I like them, would that not be appropriation?
I have not set a boundary against you about the shoes I wear. I don't face discrimination or racism because of the shoes that I wear.
So if I, as a biracial...
But here's the thing. When we talk about cornrows, just ask any doctor, dermatologist, and so forth. They come in and they see all these women who destroy their hair and their roots because they use cornrows, specifically black women. You're not supposed to do that with your hair. So, I think you should be focused on not trying to tear your hair out by wearing some cornrows that got nothing to do with you being black. You know, that's just what it is. I honestly think, aren't white people more suited for cornrows? I'm not really sure about that. Then black people, I know our hair texture doesn't like to be stretched like that. You see, you have to understand that cornrows specifically are trying to, again, change the texture of black women's hair. It's stretching it out and making it very flat and almost looks straight. See, even that is maneuvering black women's hair. I can't say the same is being done for a woman who is white. Her hair is flat and straight whether we put it in cornrows or not. But when we put your hair in cornrows, your hair is flat and trying to be straight, basically. But is that its natural state? No, it's not.
Half-black woman go to Kim Kardashian and say, you know what, that's not a boundary that I've set for you. You may wear cornrows. And I am essentially a black person who has told her I don't have that boundary. Is it then wrong for her to wear the braids the next day?
That comes into play. If you do that, you're going to ignore there's countless documentation of a lot of black women being discriminated and experiencing racism because of braids. So by doing that, you're kind of just dissing and ignoring the black women that are struggling with this issue, especially because you have to think Kim Kardashian has an extremely large platform. Mm-hmm. So what she does, her fans see as law and see as she can do no wrong.
Well, that would be a good thing now, wouldn't it? If you feel like there is some stigma against having braids or cornrows, if people are lauding her for her braids and cornrows, then that means that she is changing the view on braids and cornrows. How are you mad that she is changing the view of braids and cornrows if you feel like people judge you for it? You know what I mean? So that's just my issue with this. I feel like this is mostly jealousy, and then on top of it, it's not just jealousy. I feel like it's the whole ignorant idea that braids have to do with black women's hair when it doesn't, you know. So that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe and comment down below. Bye, guys.